In this video, I'm going to cover some Surging Sparks deck lists that have been doing well in Japan, and hopefully this can serve as a guide when you build your own Surging Sparks decks. So first up we have Pikachu EX. So Pikachu EX has this ability which doesn't allow it to get one-shotted if it has full HP, so it is very useful, and its attack does 300 damage for 3 energies, 1 grass, 1 lightning, 1 steel. So I would say it is one of the best cards in the set. So the main issue is how do you charge it up. So for the first deck list we use Blissey EX with the Happy Switch ability, which says once during your turn you may move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. So you want to use Glass Trumpet to charge up your Blissey EX from the discard pile, and then you use the ability to switch the energy to your Pikachu EX, and then you can attack again. So the ace spec of choice is Precious Trolley, which allows you to search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So this can be your setup for, you can put Chanseys, you can put Pikachu EXs, you can even put Munkidori. And Munkidori is very useful in this deck as well because of Pikachu EX's ability. So if your opponent doesn't knock out Pikachu EX and Pikachu EX activates its ability, you can use Munkidori to shift damage counters from your Pikachu EX to the defending Pokemon, and then 300 damage to knock out any Pokemon within 330 HP. And even if you can't do that combo, there's also Gravity Mountain, which is a new stadium card which says each stage 2 Pokemon in play gets minus 30 HP. So this will bring down even the toughest stage 2 Pokemon. Really like this deck list, easy to set up, especially with the Precious Trolley, and yeah, definitely going to give this a try. The second build revolves around Miraidon EX, so it essentially is a Miraidon EX deck but with Pikachu EX as an alternative attacker. So we all know about Miraidon EX, so I won't touch on it that much. The newer card is Pikachu EX and Magneton. So Magneton allows you to KO itself, and then you can charge three basic energies rather from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. Yep. So and do take note, this is not just lightning energy; it can be any energy. So you can charge up your Pikachu EX as well. And an alternative energy attachment is Crispin. So you can use Electric Generator to charge up lightning energy to your Pikachu EX, and then use Crispin to charge another 2 energies. So that is 1 turn setup Pikachu EX. Yep, so it will be interesting to find out which of the 2 Pikachu EX builds is more consistent and the more popular. So really looking forward to play Pikachu EX. Next up, we have Hydreigon EX. So I do like Hydreigon EX because you can build a deck around both the first and the second attack. So that is very useful. So the first attack allows you to deal 200 damage, and then you get to mill 3 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. And with just 2 energy costs, it can be very easily set up. The second attack is harder to set up, but it is very good against single price decks or decks that need to set up to stage 2. So Obsidian does 130 damage to the active Pokemon, and then deals another 130 damage to each of 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So effectively you are KOing 3 Pokemon with 1 attack. So we shall first talk about this build, which focuses on the second attack. So of course you have Hydreigon EX as your main attacker, Pidgeot EX to search for any card you want, and you have Peturant EX to switch up your Pokemon. And you also have the new Azelf. So Azelf's Mind Kinesis deals 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. So you can use Hydreigon EX's second attack to deal 130 damage first, and then use Azelf to clean up. The ace spec of choice is New Upper Energy because Hydreigon EX is a stage 2, so New Upper Energy allows you to save on the energy cost. So the way to set up this Hydreigon EX quickly is to use Dark Patch, and then New Upper Energy, and then Hand Attachment. You can set it up in turn 2. Counter Gain also helps in this deck because it saves on the energy cost. So for those who don't know, Counter Gain allows you to attack for 1 less energy if it is attached to your Pokemon, but the condition is that you must have more prizes left compared to your opponent. And of course, you have Crispin to help set it up. So Crispin is very, very useful for Terra decks that need multiple energies to set up. I would see myself playing more copies, at least 2, maybe. Yeah, so because finding the new upper energy is hard without Pidgeot. The second build of Hydreigon EX revolves around the first attack. If for those who that need a reminder, it deals 200 damage and then you mill the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. So this deck focuses on dealing huge damage, or 200 damage is not huge but is enough to knock out quite a few Pokemon, and then disabling them using Unfair Stem and then milling the top 3 cards to make sure that they don't have enough resources to fight back from that position. So you also have the one-off Airy, to discard any items that they might have. 4 Ionos to disrupt them even more. Although personally, I might prefer a few copies of Judge, at least 2. So you want to go full disruption to make sure that they cannot recover or cannot set up the second attacker. Because Hydreigon EX might need to 2-hit some of their Pokemon, and with 330 damage, 330 HP rather, it's hard for them to one-shot. And this next build, it's a combination of the first 2 in a sense that with new upper energy you have access to the second attack, but it is not the main priority for this build. So you have the Dusknoir line to top up any damage that you might be lacking, because while 200 damage is huge for just 2 energies, it can be lacking when it comes to facing decks like Roaring Moon or Raging Bolt, which has 200 plus HP, right? So it is more versatile in the sense that you have access to both Hydreigon EX's attacks, but it might be less consistent compared to the Pure Dark build, I would say. Next up, we will talk about Milotic EX, and this is the deck that I will definitely try out because Milotic is one of my favorite Pokemon. So Sparkling Scales is its ability which says prevent all damage from and effects of attack from your opponent's Terra Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So Dragapult EX cannot put damage counters or damage the Milotic EX. So that is a huge plus, right? So this is a, I would say, anti-meta deck, I would say, or rather making sure that your opponent cannot attack you while you slowly take prizes. So the first build we see has Milotic EX, Noivern EX, and Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. So you pick your attacker and who you set up based on what your opponent is playing. So for those that need a reminder, Noivern EX attack does 70 damage and then prevent all damage done to it by basic Pokemon. And for the Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon has this ability which allows you to not get hit by Pokemon that have abilities. And you also have the new Pokemon Gastrodon, which has this ability Sticky Bind. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, bench stage 2 Pokemon, both you and your opponents have no ability. So you stop your Dusknoirs, you stop Pidgeot EXs unless they promote them to the active. Or they have to gust out your Gastrodon and knock it out. But it's a 1 prizer, so you're not going to have a big headache over that. The next build has Farigiraf EX instead of Noivern EX. So Farigiraf EX prevents damage done to it by basic EX Pokemon. The advantage that Farigiraf EX has over Noivern is that it is an ability instead of an attack. So Noivern EX needs to attack in order to prevent damage from all basic Pokemon. So the advantage that Noivern EX has is all basic Pokemon instead of just EX Pokemon. But it is not an ability, it is an attack. So it's a case of pick your evil, right? So for both decks, Hero's Cape is the ace spec of choice. You want to make your Pokemon as tanky as possible. The next build is more Mimikyu focused. So you also have Radiant Jirachi, which says if it is knocked out, you get to choose 3 cards from your deck and then put them in your hand. So very, very useful Radiant Pokemon indeed. And the ace spec of choice is the Megaton Blower, which allows you to discard all special energies and tools in play. I think Stadium as well. So blow out everything. Make sure they don't have things like gift energies, bravery charms, and whatnot. Definitely going to give Milotic EX a try. I hope that you like Milotic as much as I do. Next up, we have Tatsugiri EX, which can be very, very destructive if you can set up in turn 2. Turn 1 or turn 2, right? Turn 1 going second, or turn 2 going first. So Surprise Palm, 100 damage, Shred, nothing much to shout about. It's the second attack, right? Cinnabar Lure allows you to take a look at the top 10 cards of your deck, and you may put any number of Pokemon you find that onto your bench. So do take notice, any Pokemon, it's not just basic Pokemon, so that is where the deck shines. So first build, you can see 3 Tatsugiri EX, and then you have Pidgeot EX, Hydreigon EX, and Dusknoir. And you also have Togekiss, so I'll touch on Togekiss in a bit. So you will find that there's no basic, right? No Pidgeys and Duskulls. Yeah. So because you want to use Tatsugiri's second attack to bring up all the stage 2 Pokemon into your bench. Then why Zweilous and the baby Hydreigons, you may ask. Okay, so because the baby Hydreigon allows you to take a look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of energy cards you find that onto your Pokemon in any way you like. So it can be a very, very good setup, especially you don't have a lot of ways to charge up your Pokemon. So this baby Hydreigon can be a way to set up your Hydreigon EXs. So you have 4 Zweilous, 4 Hydreigon, baby Hydreigon, and 3 Hydreigon EX. So your Zweilous can evolve to whichever Hydreigon that you like. So the next card we want to talk about is Togekiss. So Togekiss has this very fun ability which allows you to flip a coin whenever you take a prize card. If you flip heads, then you get to take another prize card. Not the most consistent, definitely, but it can feel very, very good when you flip hits. Sparkling Crystal is the ace spec of choice. So Sparkling Crystal also helps reduce the energy counts needed for your Tatsugiri EX and Hydreigon EX, whichever scenario you need to use it for. So this next build is very, very interesting in the sense that I only see Blood Moon Ursaluna EX as the attacker. I don't see any other attackers, to be honest. So you just use Tatsugiri to set up many Dusknoirs and Dusclops, and you have Togekiss to take additional prizes if need be, and then when your opponent has been reduced to maybe 1 or 2 prizes, you can use Blood Moon Ursaluna to attack, and then use Togekiss to take additional prizes. You also have Ditto from 151 to set up whichever basic Pokemon you need, be it Oranguru V, Squawkabilly, or Latias EX. And of course, Fenrotom to find your Dittos. Very, very interesting build indeed. I wonder how it will do. We now talk about Cerulege EX, which is very, very interesting. I do see quite a lot of people playing this. Cerulege EX, most builds will just focus on its first attack, which does 30 damage plus additional damage based on the number of energy cards in your discard pile. So with Radiant Greninja, 4 counts of Carmine, 2 Professor Research, and 3 Earthen Vessel, 4 Ultra Balls, you want to discard as many energy cards as possible and then set up your Cerulege EX as early as possible. So the good thing about this deck is, number 1, the energy cost is very, very low. Just with just 1 energy you get to attack, and it's a stage 1 deck, so you don't need rare candies. The ace spec of choice is Legacy Energy. I would guess is to make your opponent take 7 prizes instead of 6. Next up is Archaludon EX. The ability Assemble Alloy allows you to, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic Steel Energy cards from a discard pile to your Steel Pokemon in any way you like. So, of course, the first thing that you think of is Dialga V-Star. I almost said Dialga EX, right? So, Dialga V-Star, for those that need a reminder, has Star Chronos ability, which allows you to do 220 damage and then you take an additional turn. So Archaludon EX is perfect to set up Dialga Vista instead of Metal Maker from what's that, Matang, right? So it's an either or thing, but Archaludon is more tanky and it can serve as a secondary attacker. So Scramble Switch is the A-Spec of choice. It's a new A-Spec coming up in this set in Surging Sparks. So Scramble Switch allows you to switch your Pokemon from the active to the bench, and then you switch all the energy cards as well. So like what I said earlier, Archaludon EX can be a secondary attacker. So if your opponent doesn't knock out the active, you can use Scramble Switch to switch to another Pokemon. So the most common scenario I would see Scramble Switch being used is your Archaludon EX being in the active because it has 300 HP. It's harder compared to Dialga V-Star to be knocked out. So if your opponent cannot one-shot it, you switch to your Dialga V-Star and you can potentially take 2 turns from that. The next build is more interesting because it focuses not just on Archaludon EX, it also focuses on Duraludon, the Pokemon that Archaludon evolves from. So, Raging Hammer, 80 plus, 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you use Relicanth to have access to that. So Relicanth allows your Pokemon to use attacks from its previous evolutions. So your Archaludon EX with 300 HP might take some, if your opponent doesn't one-shot your Archaludon EX, you can deal huge damage with Duraludon. Definitely a very interesting Pokemon, Archaludon EX. Do I see this being a very meta-changing? I don't see this in the top decks, to be honest, but definitely fun. And if you can pull the combos off, especially for Dialga Vista, I do see it go on a good run in some tournaments. Last but not least, we have Sylveon EX, definitely very popular Pokemon, and I do know that there are many people who are wanting to try this out. So you are mainly focused on the second attack, which allows you to discard your opponent's bench Pokemon. So how it is very troll, very fun. A lot of people will not be expecting that. So the first build is the Lost Box engine. Most of us are familiar with it. You use the Lost Zone engine and Mirage Gate to charge up your Sylveon EX, reset Stem to disrupt their hand, and then you discard 2 of their Pokemon. Reset Stem and Counter Catcher is so good, right? The second build is not as straightforward, but it has more options compared to the Lost Box, I would say, because you have Dusknoir, just the 1/1 Duskull and Dusknoir, and then you have Pidgeot EX to search for the cards that you need. So those were the winning deck lists from Japan that I have found for the main Surging Sparks Pokemon that are coming out. Which decks are you looking forward to play the most? Do let me know in the comments. I hope you are looking to building Surging Sparks decks as much as I am. And of course, Surging Sparks, the Japanese version, has been out in Japan for a few weeks already. So it has been given a little bit of time for people to build their deck lists. I wouldn't say these deck lists are optimal yet, to be honest. There will definitely be better builds out there that people haven't found out or haven't experimented with yet. But I think that this is a very, very good guide for people that want to start. So with that, thank you so much for coming to the end of this video. Sending you lots of love. I'll see you in the next one.